I hope this is working. I don't know how to see if it's working. It is? Oh, it's doing that. It is? How do I change the settings? Is that better? All right. Cool. We're live. Hopefully, y'all can hear me on Instagram. We're live, and we've got no microphone on there. And on YouTube, hi, everybody. We are live there too. Let me know in the chats if you guys can see and hear everything okay. Hopefully, we've got decent volume. We've already got questions coming in. So, everyone, just so you know, my wife and my baby are back here. Claire is going to be fielding some conversations from Instagram. So, if you can you not hear me? I'm seeing someone on Instagram saying they maybe can't hear me. Everything's okay. B Ned shots. Looking good, sounding good. Sean's here. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. All right. Everything's good on Instagram too, it looks like. So questions are coming in, which is great. Thank you guys so much. If you're on Instagram, I appreciate it. We are doing essentially a YouTube 100,000 subscribers unboxing because I just got this in the mail. And obviously, I wouldn't have this if it wasn't for all of you guys because you represent all the 100,000 people that follow and are a part of this community. So means so much, and I wanted to take the time to open this with you guys. So yeah, we're live on YouTube. It's easier for me to field questions on YouTube, so maybe jump over there and subscribe if you haven't already. But my wife is going to interject every now and again with some questions from Instagram. But to start, I think we'll just dive right in and open this thing up because I've actually had it for a week and I'm really anxious to open it. So thank you guys. Let's get after it. Let's open this thing up and see what it's all about. So it's yeah, my wife's gonna come hang out because this is pretty exciting for both of us. I mean, this has been a long journey to say the least, and we're very grateful, Claire and I, for all the love and support that you guys have given throughout the years. Because I'm able to do this full time because of YouTube and because of you guys. So it's pretty special. Means a lot to us. And here we go. Try and make it so you guys can kind of see it somehow. Here we go. It's black. There's nothing there. There's a note. Do you remember your first subscriber? Your 100th, your 1000th, or your 100,000th? Your fans may have found you while searching YouTube, learned about you through a friend, or maybe you show up as a recommended video. No matter how they came to your channel, your audience stayed and their numbers increased because of you and the community you've built. We're so proud to honor your impressive milestone of reaching 100,000 subscribers. It's crazy. It's crazy. And now we know that you have many stories to share with your community. We know your fans can't wait for you to amaze them even more with your commitment and creativity. So keep creating, keep building. We can't wait to see what you'll do next. Blah, 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 blah. Super exciting. And here is the silver play button. We did it, folks. Super cool. It's in some nice wrapping. I got to find somewhere to put it in the office now. That'll be interesting. But what a cool accomplishment. I'm so grateful to have turned this passion of car photography and video into a career. It's wild. Absolutely wild. There you go, folks. You guys are awesome. Truly appreciate you because yeah, I worked hard, but like all these numbers represent you guys being a part of it. And I've got some good questions here that I will be answering that you guys put in Instagram that speak to some of the hard work and answer some of your guys' questions that you've asked. So there we go. What do you think?
It's awesome.
It's kind of nice. It's a little different than the ones they used to give the other people, but it's pretty cool. Bridget just spat up all over my wife's phone. So the Instagram live questions are gonna come a little slower. Cool. Thanks, guys. All right, so let's dive into a handful of questions here. I fielded a couple of questions that you guys put on my Instagram already, so I'm going to answer some of those, and then as questions come in live on Instagram, we'll answer those as well. So thanks everyone for jumping in there. So if you've got questions, start putting them in there. But I had a couple of questions from Sean here. He's on YouTube, and he is also a fantastic automotive photographer who has won awards. So he's doing better than me in a lot of cases. So super cool what he's up to. He asked a couple of questions. So one of them was, what has been the most challenging part of building my audience, and how did I overcome it? So there's a lot of challenges when it comes to being an automotive photographer, first and foremost, because it's one of the most difficult things to get into, in my opinion. Shooting portraits of people is very easy because all you need is your subject in a cool location and you can shoot it kind of anywhere. Cars, you need to get access to a car first and foremost. You need to know how to drive that car, whether it's stick or automatic. Need to have fantastic locations, and then you need to understand how to use your camera in order to get those. So many challenges, but the biggest thing with building an audience is consistency. And I've been doing this for like 8 years. Um, and that's a lot of work. So the challenges of overcoming it is just keep on going. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of building an audience. I'm also like older minded. Like I'm not young like a lot of these kids coming up doing incredible work, and they've got at all hours of the day to create content and create amazing content. And so they're probably going to grow, and many of you have grown faster than I have. But I kind of just stick to what I know, which is clean quality content, and then teaching you guys how to do it. So I've just enjoyed building this small community, and I've tried less to hack the system and more just be authentic to who I am and teach you guys kind of as I go. So that's kind of my approach. It might not be the fastest way to build an audience, but it's been good for me. And obviously, we've kind of reached this cool milestone. So super cool. So thanks, Sean, for asking those questions. You've got some other ones here. I might get to those as well. Let's see if we've got any live questions here. Just bought an Osmo Pocket 3. What is a must? So that's from David Person on YouTube. Thanks for the question, man. I love this camera so much. As new content creators, the Osmo Pocket 3 is one of those cameras that you literally can just turn it on and you can hit record. Some of the auto tracking features on this thing are insane. So it's super cool. It's super lightweight, which means you can, in our industry, you can mount it to vehicles. So the must is get ND filters. So there's a whole bunch you can get. My favorite ones to use are from Freewell. They're the more expensive ones, unfortunately. But I did buy from another brand on Amazon, and there was like some vignetting and stuff in the corners that I didn't love. So that's why I got the Freewell ones. And that way you're able to get the best like motion blur, so cinematic motion blur in your footage. And that's what's going to separate it from like looking like your phone to making it look like a proper cinematic beast. So I hope that helps. Love this camera. I'm excited for when DJI upgrades this, because there's a few things I'd like to see upgraded, but for the most part, it's a pretty sweet piece of kit. So hopefully that answers your question. Definitely get some ND filters. Otherwise, I mean, learn how to use manual settings would be a big thing, but that kind of goes with everything that we do in car photography. So thanks for the question, David. Appreciate it. Do we have any on Instagram?
A lot of people are being super positive on it.
Oh, thanks, y'all. That's nice. Claire says everyone's just being really encouraging. All right, so we've got a guy on YouTube who is he says Sarah TH Sarah, hey bro, remember me 4 years ago? You told me to keep it up, and now I was going, and now I'm staying in Dubai and working as a videographer and editor in one of the most famous car dealerships in the UAE. So that's super cool. I think that is a huge part of what I've enjoyed about this in particular is we've actually had a really positive and encouraging group of people. And so I love being able to see that other people are surpassing me and doing better than I ever could. Like I said, some of you have more energy and have better opportunities. And so it's really cool to see that some of these videos that I'm just putting on the internet because I'm enjoying myself and I'm having cool experiences are helping further your guys' career as well. And that's kind of what it is all about. And that's what I have chosen to make this channel all about, is helping you guys progress, hopefully learning from my opportunities as well. So you have a question?
Yes. There's two questions.
Okay.
What light would you recommend for a night car photography?
Nighttime car photography. What light? So it's a great question. So someone actually asked if I would be doing any like off camera strobe or flash photography. I don't do a whole lot of that because I actually come from a video world. I tend to use more constant lights. And so you can kind of get any light that's in your budget. And I personally enjoy something that has like a big soft, you can't see that, but it has a big softbox on it. Or if you're doing photography, you can get any of those light sticks. I've used ones from brands called Sirui, Sirui. I also use Amaran tube lights. They're kind of part of what's lighting in here. So you can really go with anything that's inside of your budget. And then again, I do have videos on my YouTube channel that explain the settings that you need to use in order to capture that content. But essentially, what you need is a light. You need a slow shutter speed, which means that you probably need a tripod. Well, you do need a tripod. And then from there, you can choose your aperture and your ISO based on how bright of a light you have. So that's tips on nighttime car photography and any light, really, like any tube light that you can afford. Any other ones?
Yeah. Drive by Pixels.
Drive by Pickle. Thanks, Drive by Pickle.
Pixels. I'm doing POV content for like a year now for car photography. Would you recommend starting YouTube or stick to Instagram?
Okay, so in case you can't hear that on the YouTube, someone had asked if you're doing point of view car photography, would you stick to YouTube or move to YouTube or stick to Instagram?
Should you start a YouTube or stick to Instagram?
Should you start a YouTube or stick to Instagram? So if you guys are on Instagram and you have value to offer anyone, abso-friggin-lutely start a YouTube channel. YouTube for me has grown twice as fast as my Instagram channel, and you can see that quite literally in my numbers. I mean, we just surpassed 100,000 on YouTube, and we have like 40 something on Instagram. The biggest thing here is that YouTube is tied to Google. So if anyone is on Google searching for how to do car photography, if you are on YouTube, you have the potential to show up. So that's kind of where like learning SEO and those kinds of things works. But if you Google that stuff or you're on the internet, Instagram never comes up, your photo never comes up, your reel never really comes up. So it's an isolated platform. So YouTube has a lot more potential for growth. The other thing, YouTube actually pays you money. I don't know what your experience has been with Instagram. I have never been paid from Instagram specifically. I've been paid to do some brand work with brands to create content for them or to put it on my channel, but I've never been paid a cent from Instagram, whereas YouTube has paid me pretty well to do what I do. So highly recommend YouTube over Instagram. And that's kind of how I've built my brand and my business. So right, looking over at YouTube, Jacob Meyer, who I think I edited one of your photos in one of my past videos, editing your guys' car photography. He says, how should I go about getting clients? This is a great question, and it's actually not as easy as you would hope, unfortunately. The journey to getting good car photography clients is you get good at shooting photos, like really good, undeniably good, so that when people come to your page, they want you to photograph them. The biggest thing that I did is I actually started telling my friends and family that I am shooting cars. They knew that I was half decent with my camera, but once I said I was shooting cars, that's when people started to say, oh, well, I've got an Audi, or my friend's got this car or that car, and you're like, oh heck yeah, I'll shoot it. And so that's actually how I ended up shooting my first McLaren, was through actually someone who worked in HR in my previous job, and their son-in-law had the McLaren. So you can also watch that video. It was the MP4 12C Spider. So really cool video. But it really just comes from word of mouth. being so good that you can't deny people wanting you to shoot it. And that's also how you start to charge money, as well as once you get past kind of just shooting photos for fun, you can say, hey, my portfolio is pretty good. I actually start charging for what I do. So I hope that answers your question. You just kind of got to grind, shoot any car you can get access to. I was very fortunate, again, through word of mouth and a friend of mine, to get connected to a dealership. And then I had more access to more cars. And so that's actually when I started the YouTube channel, is when I got access to those vehicles. So just keep doing what you're doing, Jacob. Make sure you're taking banger photos so that people will undeniably want you to shoot their car. I hope that answers questions. We got any on the Instagrams?
There was one, but now I can't find it.
Ah,
I think it
shoot.
was something along the lines of, how do you market yourself early on in your career, or something along those lines.
Bridget's smiling. Okay, marketing, I would say it's very similar to that previous question. So they asked, how do you market yourself? And you're, as car photographers, your personality is your brand. So when you show up to a shoot, to me, how you treat that client and going above and beyond what the expectations are of that client is how you are going to have them shoot your vehicle, shoot their vehicle again, have them reach out to other clients and people that also might have great cars that you can shoot. A great example of this is, I was shooting for a guy here in Calgary who had that beautiful, I was like Miami blue GT4, wonderful car. And so I did a great job shooting his stuff. At the time, I didn't actually charge him because I just really wanted to shoot that car. I also was able to make a YouTube video out of it, so there's a lot of value for me. And then he continued to upgrade his vehicles, so now you can see his brand new GT3 touring on my channel as well. So the better you treat your clients, the more you speak word of mouth as well to people that you know, the more you can kind of build your portfolio. And the better you do, again, make your photos undeniably fantastic, then you'll hopefully get more clients. Okay, so we've got some like camera questions here about like which camera is good enough with a 50 mil STM, a good combination for shooting cars. So this is like the age old question of like what gear matters. Your iPhone's good enough. Your cell phone is good enough. If you have a mirrorless camera that has any depth of field, and it sounds like the 50 mil STM, I think that's a 1.8. I could be totally wrong. Is it good enough? Absolutely, it's good enough. And I highly recommend getting out there and shooting with it. The biggest thing with any camera that you have is understanding how the camera settings work. If you understand how the camera settings work, you can absolutely shoot with any camera ever. Your grandma's camera, I've got a film camera here. It functions the exact same way that this camera does. So this camera was, how old is this? This is your grandpa's camera or something? Great grandpa's camera. Functions the exact same way that our more modern cameras do. And so if you learn how to use this camera, the ISO, the shutter speed, and the aperture, you can take fantastic photos with everything. So the biggest thing I would suggest with whatever camera you're using, if they're an older camera, is actually keep your ISO as low as you possibly can, because some of the, let's call it like more budget friendly cameras, the higher you push your ISO, the sensors might not be as good at handling higher ISOs. So what I tend to do is I pick my aperture first. So like how much blur or depth of field do I want in my shot? Then I'll make sure my ISO is at the lowest point, so 100 or 50, depending on what camera you're using. And then you adjust your shutter speed accordingly. Unless you're shooting rollers or like we'd already talked about nighttime photography, then your shutter speed has to be the first creative decision that you make, and then you got to fiddle with your settings after that. So if you don't actually know how to use your camera properly, I literally built a course because you guys keep asking this question. So that's why I built a course. It's linked down below, and it's only $20, and it teaches you guys everything you need to know about your camera, everything from aperture, ISO, shutter speeds, and how we use it specifically in our creative field. So I do highly recommend it, and it's very affordable. So go check it out. I made it for you guys. I don't need it. It's for you. So yeah. Anyway, what do we got on YouTube, Instagram?
Well, how long did you do photography before you started doing cars?
Cool. How long? So the question was on Instagram, how long did I do car photography before I started, or photography in general, before I started shooting cars? So 20, oh my gosh, I'm going to age myself. 2013, 2012, I started working for private school here in Calgary, and I actually didn't know anything about how to use cameras at all. And so I started learning through that industry of videography specifically. Actually, was my niche, and then I eventually moved into photography. But I was really actually bad at photography, and I kind of was really bad because we were shooting portraits of people, and people are hard. Like sometimes people got funny noses or faces and facial expressions, and I'm not really good at navigating uh, the intricacies of portrait photographer, let's call it, portrait photography. So when had the opportunity to shoot cars, and I did notice there was a huge gap between what like national brands were doing or proper car photographers were doing versus what local dealerships were doing. And so then I kind of got really passionate about filling that gap and creating a business opportunity. And I love cars because they come off the factory looking good. And so it's just my job to make sure, am I giving that weird thumbs up? That's so annoying. Sorry about that. Um, they come off the factory looking good, and it's just my job to put it in a good place and do the right settings with my camera to, and then editing, of course, to make that image look good. So how long though, to answer your question? Probably 5 years before I started like shooting cars. And that's kind of when all the things that I had learned about cameras and video really started to click for me, because I was pointing it at something that I genuinely enjoyed and it was like passionate about. I love driving cars. Like I love sitting in cars and shifting gears and the experience of automotive. There's just like the whole automotive industry I love. And so being able to point cameras at it and capturing imagery that way, it really became a passion. So um yeah, that answers the question, right? And then I've been doing YouTube now for 8 years. So in total, I guess I've been shooting content for like 13 years. So that answers that question. So thanks for who answered asked that question. RMK Media, is the toolkit you sell also suitable for motorsport and best to buy V2 or both? Okay, so the toolkit is super unique. He's asking about my presets, and I'll try and make it quick because I hate selling my own stuff. But I built presets that are not like everyone else's presets. A typical preset that you guys will buy from someone like Peter, excuse me, like Peter McKinnon, you're gonna take this thing and you're gonna slap it on your photo, and whether you like that color or you don't, that's it. It's baked in. So the way that I've created my presets is actually you start by adjusting your exposure, and you can click a quick preset of like 10 different types of exposure. So depending on what environment you shot in, you can click a preset that's good for that exposure. And then you move to curves, and then you have a bunch of different color options. So like warm color options, cool color options, teal and orange, all kinds of different ones. Then sharpening, and then filters and stuff. She spat up again. So my baby's here. I'll introduce you guys shortly. So what do I recommend? V2 is better because it has more adapted filter presets, but they kind of are all good together. So keep your eye out, because I always do discount codes. Like they're already on sale, but I always do discount codes. So keep your eye out for those so you can get the full kit all at once. Highly recommend it. I still use them like on a daily basis, and I probably should update them as well. Looking for a new blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we've got Flipmaster Finds, new to the channel. Welcome. And I have an A7 IV, which is a great camera, and a 35 millimeter prime. Looking for a new lens, the 16 to 35 or the 24 to 70. Okay, well, those are different focal lengths. The 24 to 70 is going to give you a bit more diversity, specifically in automotive photography, because when you're shooting automotive, typically you don't actually want to shoot too wide, because it actually distorts the look of the vehicle and kind of makes it look bulbous, so to speak. So if you're asking me, if you're wanting to shoot like vlogging type content or like film yourself, then maybe the 16 to 35 is going to give you the better option. But if you're just looking to do photography and you want a few more diverse angles, the 24 to 70 is going to be your better bet. Because you can still get interior shots with the 24 mil. You can do some more telephoto stuff with the 70 mil. So I think that's probably your better bet, depending on what you're shooting, of course. If you're just heavily interior car photography, then the 16 to 35. Aaron Reimer. Okay, guys. So Aaron Reimer, I owe a lot of this to because in the last year and a half, 2 years, Aaron has helped me shoot a ton of videos. So a lot of like the behind the scenes stuff. If you see me in my videos, it's because the fabulous Aaron Reimer helped me film those videos. So I attribute a lot of what we've accomplished in the last year to him helping me out. So yeah, go give that guy a little bit of love. He's actually the portrait photographer king. So anytime I need stuff, that's who I shoot with. Love that guy. Do I prefer shooting at certain times? Does sunlight play a part in your videos? Uh, hey, Reese captured that. That's a great question, man. Honestly, light is everything, and you learn that through videography. Like when you watch any level of cinema, you'll always notice that they're always trying to like create a line or like create shadow or shade on any subject that they're shooting, and that creates contrast and that creates depth in your image. So that's why anyone encourages you to shoot at sunlight or sunset or sunrise, because it gives that same cinematic effect that we love in cinema, and that's side lighting or background lighting. My baby's talking. So yes, definitely shoot when the sun is off to the side because it gives depth to your photo. It adds contrast, and so highly recommend shooting not when the sun is directly above you. And if you can, I like to backlight, meaning the subject is in front of the sun, so the sun should be behind to some degree. That's not a hard, fast rule. I just like shooting that way because that's what I've noticed in a lot of cinema as well. You guys want to meet my baby? She's a little fussy, so maybe I can get her to say hi. Yeah, we're going to take off with it. You're going to speed up on daddy? Yeah. You're going to say hi? This is my sweet baby girl. This is Bridget. You want to say something to the internet? No. Okay. She was born 4.5 months ago, almost 5 months ago. She's been the best thing ever. She is so smiley. She loves life and she talks a lot. And we're very, very, very blessed because I don't know if you guys can hear me, but that's her. She's so sweet. I don't know. Being a dad is literally the best thing. It also like gives you a bit more purpose to do what I do and maybe do it better. Because yeah, just look at her. Just look at her. You're the sweetest. Okay, you want to take it back, or do you want to hang? You want to hang? Okay, what other questions have we got? Is it worth it to get a DJI Osmo? Oliver asks, and the answer is yes. We've already answered that question. It's a fantastic little camera. Another one that I actually really enjoyed this year, camera-wise, was the Insta360 Go 3S. This is an action cam that I really enjoyed, specifically because like the camera, she's moving the mic, because the camera comes out and like they're not paying me to say any of this, obviously. The camera comes out and you can like mount this places, and then you have a monitor that's like built in and already connected. What I love about that is you don't have to like get an app or something to view this. So super cool. I didn't ever get ND filters for this, but I probably should because I'll probably use it more in this coming year. It was just a camera I genuinely enjoyed using. So I also recommend that as an action camera if that's something that you're looking into. But the Osmo is freaking sweet because it does a lot of cool stuff.
Sam Parsons Photography wants to know, when are you getting your Porsche?
Maybe you need to answer this question. So Sam on Instagram, Sam Parsons asked when I'm getting my Porsche. So I mean, as soon as I can. The beauty of it is like my wife has never said no. Like every time I bring up whether or not I can buy a Porsche, like I'm on Auto Trader and I'm on Facebook Marketplace all the time looking for Porsches. I don't think that we're in a position to buy a Porsche 911 quite yet, but we might be closer to a Cayman in the potential near future. And this does come down to Autolux Imagery. Sean, he asked me if I have any exciting collaborations on the horizon. And if some of the exciting collaborations on the horizon come through, then there's higher potential for Porsches sooner than later, which is exciting. I'm actually working right now with Subaru Canada on a project, and so a part of that project is actually that I'm using one of their cars for 3 months, and that will be coming to the channel hopefully within the next month, explaining what's going on with that. But that partnership is also fantastic. So that also enables me to potentially, if that continues to go well, to potentially get rid of my Volkswagen and upgrade the GTI into the Porsche. So I mean, it's exciting times, and I'm excited to see how 100K changes um, how brands interact with me as well, because hopefully we can get some more proper sponsors on the channel and stuff too. Um, yeah.
DBC Agency wants to know what camera you're shooting this on.
What camera am I shooting? Is he on YouTube or
Instagram.
Instagram? If you're on Instagram, I'm shooting on the rear or the front facing camera on my iPhone, but I've got a light back there and I've got a light over there. So not making my camera struggle too hard. But if you're on YouTube, I'm shooting on the Lumix S5 II, and I love the Lumix cameras. And I genuinely like. I've tried all the cameras. I like the Sonys. I like the Canons. When I went out on my own and started doing content creation for the first time, I had the Canon R6 Mark One, and what was great about that camera is that it had full frame 4K 60 frames per second, which was awesome. But I found that some of the, as I'm a hybrid shooter, meaning I shoot photo and video, some of the quick set buttons on the R6 was kind of limiting for my style. And so I started to look elsewhere, and Lumix to me has one of the most beautiful video images that you can get. And so the stuff that I shoot, it has everything that I need, and it's awesome. Johan BN, you're welcome, brother. Thank you. You inspire me as well. Being a part of the automotive community is what it's all about. Like, you guys create incredible content too. Like, I'm just one of many, you know, like you guys are also automotive creators, and that's the beauty of what we do. In fact, like I launched a video today and it's got good feedback, but there's also people being like, I don't like your edit. And that's awesome. Like, to me, I love the conversation around creativity and around, you know, what you like as a good edit versus what I like as a good edit. And so that's a beauty of the conversation that we get to have here as automotive content creators. And having different opinions. I just like teaching you guys what I know. And so hopefully you can take the tools that I teach you, and then you can make content that you like. That's what's awesome about it.
The car video guy on Instagram asks, how did your brand deals go when you were a bit smaller? Currently growing at 10K right now. Would love to hear your thoughts.
Okay. So the car video guy is on Instagram. He's also on YouTube. So thanks, man. And I think I've seen some of your videos as well, because when I still look up inspiration on YouTube. And so you've come up. So that's super cool. Keep going, bud. It's different for everyone. So I'll just speak to my experience when I was a smaller channel. Typically, when I was smaller, brands would just want to send me free stuff and have me make the videos for their product. So that completely depends on your capacity and willingness to create that content and the time that it takes for you to put into it. I am the type of personality that I think about things like in a perfect way. If it's not going to be perfect or like up to my quality standard, I don't even want to touch it. I don't want to put it out. So I struggle now with how much time it takes to create this content. I've stopped taking on free work unless I really, really, really want the piece of equipment, or if I really, really, really want to shoot that particular car, then I'll do it for free. But yeah, it does depend on your bandwidth of like how much free content you want to take on. But that's kind of how it goes too, because then brands can see how you treat those brand videos, and then maybe that'll give you more opportunities too. So Peter McKinnon made a video on work for free, and I am 100% all about working for free as long as it's getting you closer to where you want to be. And is building your brand and portfolio. So thanks for the question, dude. Keep going. It's such a great thing. Like, YouTube is awesome. So yeah, get after it. I'm just reading some of the questions on YouTube here. Your thoughts on the best drone for photography? I'd like to get one, but want to make sure the image quality isn't too far from my camera. So that's from Vision Movement on YouTube. Drone photography is awesome. Honestly, I have the the Mini 3 Pro, and it's great. So it's like a whatever 2 or 3 years old. Essentially, like everything, you just need to know how to use your settings. Okay, we love you. Bye, Bridgie. Say bye. Any camera you get, if you know how to use your settings correctly, you can get clean, crispy shots. My baby's name is Bridget. Thanks for asking, Alex. Thanks for stopping by, DBC Agency. Take care. So, in regards to drone photography, any of the modern drones will take fantastic photos. Depending on the video quality you want, it varies. Again, just keep your ISO as low as you can, and the great thing with drone photography is you can like really hone in composition. So that's why I like drone photography. I obviously like DJI. I have the Mini Pros, highly recommend them. And then they this year sent me the Mavic 3S, Air 3S. And it's great. I love it. What I don't love about it compared to the mini ones can like flip vertical, and that's a lot of fun. So you can get like native vertical content. So if you're shooting purely for social media, some of the mini cameras are pretty capable. So might look into that one. Did you have a question from Instagram?
Yeah, it's Johan again, and Sam Parsons kind of have
Similar question.
Yeah. So they're asking, will there be a place we can talk to you more personally? Will there be something like a Discord server? And then Sam is asking, will you do a couple Zoom classes or one-on-ones in the future?
Okay, so we've got some guys asking on Instagram if I'm going to do classes, Zoom classes. I actually really want to do that. And a part of why I bought this mic and have this set up, and I'm kind of doing this live, is to also kind of garner interest if you guys want to do some one-on-one stuff, because I would love to build more of a community where I can review your guys' photos and you can actually ask me questions based on what your photos are. I also have been in the business of car photography for quite a while. So there's a little bit I can teach you in that regard also. And if we can do it on a one-on-one basis, like in a Zoom call, I think there's a lot that we can offer each other. And as a community, like to continue to bounce ideas off each other and that kind of thing, I think is awesome. So yes, I would love to develop that as a part of my business, as a part of like obviously an additional revenue stream. You guys see my wife and baby here. It's a part of how I keep the roof over my head as well. But I would love to continue to dig deeper, because YouTube essentially you scratch the surface and you reply to comments, but it really isn't going deep enough for those like that want to take that next step. So I would love to do that. If you guys have interest in doing like one-on-one or like small cohort type live videos, I'd love to do it. So give me a thumbs up or like put in the comments or chats that you guys are interested, and then I'll probably look at building that into this year. So yeah, thanks for the question. That helps a lot. I'm just reading some questions on YouTube here. Just some encouraging content here. Han Lin just says, thanks for providing so much value in the automotive world. I've been watching since 2021, and I didn't know anything about cameras and Lightroom. So that's super cool, man. Like, I'm so grateful. Honestly, like this whole experience is because you guys are here, and that's why we have this. Look, I'll point the mirror at the cameras. That's you guys. Thanks. Appreciate you so much, buddy. It's all because of you, and I'm glad to like add my little bit of flavor into the automotive space. I'm just one of many voices, and I hope that you guys continue to learn, because I'm not stopping. So I hope you continue to learn, and as I get bigger and better experiences, hopefully we can continue to pull you guys along, so you guys can get better. So appreciate it. We've got Sam Esposito. Did I ever have an experience where social media was static? My followings remain the same and photography work isn't getting much reach. Okay, interesting question, actually, Sam. And you're based in Australia, way down under. So maybe I'll answer this question in Australian. My wife's just like, oh no. Right. So if you want to get better reach, the biggest thing is don't consider yourself to be Frodo. You know, I'm going to use a Lord of the Rings reference here. You want to be the Gandalf, so you need to be adding value to everyone else on the internet. It's not about you, you know. Okay, I'm done with the Australian accent. That's a lot. It's literally, if you want to grow, you have to add value to other people's life and experience. Social media moves so quickly that if you aren't like wildly entertaining, if your photos aren't better than everyone else's, then you sure as heck better be adding some level of value in your caption or in your yeah, essentially in your caption, because you need to be giving someone some level of growth. You need to be offering them something to make them better. That's really the only thing that's going to propel your content further, because people want help in their industry and what they're doing. So that's my advice. I think what I see a lot on Instagram from content creators is them essentially just posting photos and saying, this is a Porsche 911. And that's all they put in the caption. And like there's like tons of Porsche 911 shots on Instagram. So in order to set yourself apart, you need to be offering more than me, offering also Porsche 911 content. So that's my suggestion. Sam, thanks for the question, and I think that that's a really good thing that everyone needs to focus on is get very good at what you do, and then if you want to grow, add value or be wildly entertaining. So I hope that helps.
I don't know.
What is it?
Can you do a light paint and how to using a drone and custom light?
All right, so 901 Baber
Yes, sorry.
asked, can you do a light paint and how do you use a drone and custom lights? I only know partly what you're asking. I have done some light painting content. We've talked about a little bit already earlier in this, but just to reiterate, there is a video on my channel going over how to light paint. It's great. You can use any tube light or any like big softbox source. Essentially, what you need to do is low shutter speed, put it on a tripod, keep your ISO low, pick your aperture, and then you set your shutter speed anywhere from like 10 seconds to 20 seconds, depends how long you want to walk around the car. And then get good at Photoshop, because you're probably going to have to piece together a few different images into one image. So that's the response, but it is on YouTube. And so there is a full tutorial on how to shoot it, the settings, and I think even the editing afterwards. So hopefully that video will answer your question. Sunday Racers asks, do you print images for clients yourself or do you use a print service? I don't print a lot. The ones that are up here in my office, I've just printed from like London Drugs or Shoppers Drug Mart or something like that. But maybe this is also a gap in like what I haven't done through YouTube is offering you guys prints or being able to order prints or something like that. If you're interested in that, let me know. I don't print for clients though. I just send them the images and they can do with them what they want. I do tend to package them with low res images and high res images. So that if they want to print them, they can print high res. And if they want to just use them for social media, then they can use the lower res images. Bob Cena from Ireland. Great place. We love Ireland. My wife and I went to Ireland as a stopover for our honeymoon on our way to Croatia. Flippin' loved it. Yeah, Claire is named after the County Clare. That's my wife. And Bridget's name is also Irish. So super cool. We love Ireland. And we definitely did. She just keeps spitting up on my wife. It's crazy. We did the Guinness Factory too. Highly recommend the Guinness Factory if you're into beer. I would say Guinness does taste a little bit better in Ireland. Oh my gosh. You want to show the people, Bridget? Yeah, you need to go get cleaned up, I think. Daddy life. It's the best. Okay, Chris Holmes Studios on YouTube asks St. Bridget's Day is tomorrow, love. Yeah, we'll celebrate. Sounds good. Chris Holmes Studios on YouTube says, can you give any advice on getting work with dealerships? So this is a great question, dude. Dealerships are tough. So When I got work with dealerships, it was because I knew someone who was connected to someone, and I came up with some really good ideas. I went, okay, so if you want to get work with a dealership, here's what you got to do. You got to research everything about their dealership. You need to go onto Facebook, you need to go onto Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and figure out what type of content that they are creating. And then you need to figure out where you can add value into their creation space. What's crazy is that car dealerships do not need you. They do not need me. They already have people that create content for them, usually at a national level. So the national brand will provide the car dealerships with photos. It's mostly just because they're lazy that they don't post it. So you need to find a gap in what they're doing and then go to that dealership and say, hey, I've already done the research. You guys aren't producing enough content on YouTube, or you guys aren't producing enough content on Instagram. And here's how I can add value to your dealership. I've already thought about it. Here's 3 ideas. Give them every reason to say yes rather than make them have to think about it, because these guys typically, and if you work for a car dealership, then I apologize, but typically they don't want to do the work on Instagram. They just want to sell the cars, and they're not very good at the social stuff. So if you can find all the gaps in their social stuff and then offer them your solution to fill that gap for the dealership, then maybe you'll get the work. It's also just pretty tough because they usually don't have the budget. So you could offer to say, hey, I'll do one for free, and then if you like it, we can continue working together. But I think it's hit or miss too on like which dealerships and who's working there and then what they need. So good luck. Working with dealerships can be tough, but it can also be really rewarding if you get the right one. I phased one. Have I visited Germany? I was there one time. I was in Germany one time for a layover, and I didn't know that I was on the Autobahn at the time when the taxi driver was taking us into the town, and I thought he was just an insane driver. Turns out I learned we were on the Autobahn. So sorry, taxi driver, you're not crazy. It was just the Autobahn. But I do want to go back because I would love to drive on the Autobahn myself, preferably in a Porsche 911. So that'd be a good time. Cool. Let's see what's going on Instagram. Thanks, Lunatics Lens. Appreciate the kind words, man. That's awesome. All right, lowered aperture on Instagram. He made the move from Nikon to Lumix, and I hope that you're enjoying it. Maybe just add in the comments what you like about it. I mean, I love the Lumix look personally. It act like the vlog in video looks a lot like ARRI Cinema. I think they're like pretty close, and you can actually even get a LUT that makes it look very, very close to ARRI Cinema. So that's why I like the Lumix ones a lot. The image is just far superior to me. Like the dynamic range is crazy compared from like when it went from the Canon to the Lumix. There's a massive difference. So super cool. Raoul's meets photography. Appreciate you, man. Super cool. Again, if you guys are just showing up or if you've been here for a bit, we're doing 100K car photography Q&A because I'm just saying thanks to you guys for this, because this is you guys are the 100,000. I'm not the 100,000. I'm just the one. So appreciate you guys for being a part of this journey. It's meant a lot to me and my wife to be able to do this and for me to be able to do this full time. I still love it. I still love cars. I still love photography and videography. So thanks everyone for being a part of what I've been able to do. So like it just means so much. So thanks guys for being a part of the live. I'm going to field a few more questions. We're almost at an hour already. So some of the questions were around also if I would do some kind of cohorts, those kind of things. I would like to do that. So keep your eyes peeled because I think that'll be coming, I don't know, like in the next month or two. And then we can field maybe, I don't know. What do you guys think would be a good number for a cohort? You don't want to do like too many, but you don't want to have too few because you want to be able to do one-on-one coaching. So let me know in the comments how many you think, like 10 or 20 or 30 people. Maybe it would be too much, but, and I don't love, I don't love one of those other things that people use, the live chat things. It's just another thing for me to do. And I don't have a lot of time to hop into those things, but we will build essentially a small community for us to throw photos back and forth and add encouraging comments and those kind of things. C Cocas. Have any tips for car interior photos? Some cars are a little bit hard to make them look crispy. Yeah, interior photos are tough. I have like a few angles that I kind of shoot car interior photos like the same every time. The big thing is for me with car interior photos, obviously you're shooting wider, so anywhere from like 16 to 24. A 35 mil also works pretty well. And I trust my raw image quite a bit when I'm getting into interiors, because I want to expose well enough that I'm maintaining the detail outside the car, and then I'm using the raw photo to bring up the details in the shadow areas. And Unfazed One said buy a small light, and that's totally I totally agree. If you have the time and ability to add a light to add contrast to the image, highly recommend it as well. But yeah, I do bring up a lot of the details in the shadows. So when I do a set of photos, I'll typically like do an edit for the exterior photos with all kind of the same lights and contrast and those kind of things. And then I'll do a separate edit for the interiors because they're so vastly different. So yeah, I bring up a lot of the shadows and still try and keep the dynamic range outside. I'll post some stuff of the Subaru thing I just posted, so keep an eye on that. But interiors are interesting, boost a lot of the details, and then now with noise reduction also in Lightroom you can do a lot of crazy stuff. So super cool. Add a light. I agree, Sean. 20 people seems like a max for a cohort like that to be able to keep it personable. Sam Parsons in New Zealand. Oh dude, I'd love to come to New Zealand. Kai Gabriel, how do you suggest I crop my photos from MFT sensor? What's an MFT sensor? Am I completely ignorant? Micro Four Thirds? Yeah, Micro Four Thirds. I don't know. When I export my photos, I export them so that they'll sit nicely if I post a story, so that I'm not cutting off the edges of a car. And then also if I post it to my main post on Instagram, that it's kind of the full width of the image. So that's also a part of how I compose my photos, is knowing where I'm going to be posting them to. If I'm posting them to Instagram, I'm making sure that I have, well, like this is a great example. This one, I just make sure there's enough edges on my Porsche so that no matter where it posts, if I post that on stories, I'm not cutting off the car. So that's just how I compose my images as well. So know where you're posting it. And if you're not posting it on Instagram, then you can get as close as you want to the edges of that car. But if you are posting to Instagram, you need to make sure to leave a bit of space. And to me, that's how like the grid looks the best when people come to your portfolio, is if you've got like the whole image, the whole car in the image. So that's a good question. I'm just reading some YouTube stuff. What aspect ratio do I use my camera? I think I do 2:3. I think 2:3. It's like the full width of the sensor when I'm shooting photography. How do you start your online brand? Was this the point you already had some big clients? Okay, so Jay on YouTube is asking how to build an online brand. I think this is a great question. The only thing that's going to separate you from every other automotive photographer is your personality. So I answered this question a little bit already. Not just to post a photo of a Porsche and say this is a Porsche in the caption. I think the sooner you can start adding your personal flair and who you are into your photography and into your videos, and even having some photos of you standing in front of the car, whether you like that or not, this will let brands know, or other people like me and all the people in this chat, who's on the other end of that lens. It makes it more personal, rather than you just being a talented car photographer. Because like I said, we are all incredibly talented photographers. So you need something that's going to set you apart from everyone else. And so to me, it's not necessarily about the photography or the editing. It's about how you treat people in the comments. It's about how you, I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, you need to just be sharing your personal personality sooner rather than later to build an online brand. Briar Mertlow, autofocus or manual focus while shooting cars with a gimbal. If you're shooting with a gimbal, I tend to use autofocus. Autofocus is pretty good now. And if you have tracking, that will help a lot. So you can like pick the point on the car that you are going to be pushing towards or moving side to side. If I'm doing a wheel, for example, I will use tracking or tap the focus onto that wheel in order to make sure that it's maintaining focus as I push forward or back. If you're doing side to side stuff, you could lock the focus if you want, but I tend to use automatic autofocus. The baby's back. We back, baby. Das baby. Hi, sweetie. You're back. You're back. And she's got the Volkswagen shirt from when we did the Volkswagen job. Yeah. If you weren't here, this is my baby girl. This is Bridget. And my wife's here too, helping me with Instagram questions. I love it. All right. Couple Instagram. What's up, Phil? Phil? I think that not much is up, dude. We're just doing live. We're just hanging. We just hit 100,000 subscribers. So we've got the plaque. Oh, there she goes again. She's spitting up like crazy. So Phil, we're just saying thanks for helping me hit 100,000 subscribers, because that is you guys. It's all you, not me. Do you want to take her?
Yes. What's your favorite driving road / photography road in southern Alberta?
Ooh, southern Alberta. Highway 40 is a road kind of between Calgary and Banff, and it takes you down towards the mountains. And to me, that's one of the most beautiful driving roads. It's beautiful to drive. It's beautiful to photograph. You get a lot of like this mountain view you can get down there. So to me, it's one of the best places in southern Alberta between Calgary and Canmore. It's called Highway 40. If you drive the whole thing, it brings you to like Longview, Alberta. Incredible. So a lot of people in Calgary drive that road as well if you've got a nice car. All right. Do you have videos of a video setup that have monitors? Let's explain how it works. I don't have, I mean, I have videos on YouTube explaining how I would edit log footage from scratch. It's an older video, but I mean, the content still stands the test of time because it shows you how to do highlights, lowlights, midtones. There's been some recent developments in technology since then that make it easier. Okay. Not you. Bridget's getting tired, so they're gonna go. Bye, internet. Bye. Give them a smile. Give them a smile. Okay. Now you. Do I want to come to Indiana and shoot an F40? Sure, I'll come if they'll pay for expenses. Do you use spot metering for your car photography? Sometimes. I usually just use, it's a great question. Let me find out. What metering mode do I use when shooting? I think I just use the first one. All the meters. Metering mode. It's the first one. I use that one. That makes sense. Can you guys see that? That's the metering mode that I use. I think it just takes everything into account and then tells you when you're at 0, is your best exposure for highlights and lowlights. I tend to shoot typically exposing to make sure that my highlights I'm getting all the details in the highlights, because it's easier to bring back details in the shadows, and that's how your cameras are developed. Now, in photography, you can push it a little bit higher towards the highlights and still retain detail. But if you lose detail in the highlights, you can never get it back. If you lose detail in the shadows, you can always bring that back if you're shooting in RAW. If you're shooting JPEG, stop it, shoot in RAW, but definitely expose properly for your highlights. Should you use a polarizer in low light? If I'm shooting cars, I'm always using a polarizer. Yes. to cut reflections. So highly recommend it. And again, if you know how to adjust your settings properly, then you should have no issues getting proper exposure. If you're in low light, use a tripod so that you can keep your ISO low and use your shutter speed to adjust accordingly. He has an APS-C sized camera. Yeah, so if you're shooting in low light, and if you don't have a good image stabilization camera, definitely bring a tripod for those low light options, or get a better lens with a lower aperture. Sigma does some great affordable lenses for APS-C cameras. Sunday Racers asks on YouTube if I have any where do I get my inspiration from? Any favorite photographers, automotive or not? So this is an interesting question. When I started in the industry, I was following people more on Vimeo, like really good video directors and those kind of things. Photography wise, there's a guy named Joey L, and he shoots with some medium format stuff, and his work is just like mind-blowingly bonkers good. And I actually have a Hasselblad camera that I'm borrowing from Tom Colton. If you guys know him on YouTube, he just moved here and he's letting me borrow his $13,000 Hasselblad camera. So I'm really excited actually to try that out and see what the difference is between like a full frame camera and a medium format camera, because I mean it's $13,000, like 15,000 Canadian dollars or something crazy like that. So hopefully we'll be creating some content with that in the next week or so. So you should see that on the channel in, I don't know, a month or something. But yeah, who are the top 5 automotive photographers? It's a great question, man. I I'm not on social media as much as I should be. I think like Larry Chen is a legend and fantastic. Um, I think that like I watch a lot of YouTube, so I don't like follow a lot of other photographers, but I follow like Type 7 or like people that shoot Porsches a lot. Some of my favorite photographers. Oh man, I don't follow a lot of people, honestly. I just create content, but I don't follow a lot of photographers. I probably should follow more photographers to get inspiration. Um, but feel free to recommend some because I'd love to continue to be inspired. But I mean, Larry Chen, he's the man. He's the car photographer, I think. So maybe someday, if and when he ever quits, I can take his spot, but I doubt it. I like North Borders as an example, but um, our styles of car photography are actually quite different in that like he likes those dark moody tones and I shoot slightly more commercial, in the hopes that like you can bring out the details in the car a little bit more. He maybe just edits more for a vibe and like a really cool tones and stuff. And I shoot maybe more commercial. Does that make sense? Life Through Optics, I know him. Yeah, he's before he blew up, he was messaging me on Instagram, and he still does from time to time. He's a great example of if you have the work ethic and you want to shoot cars, you can absolutely blow up. He has probably one of the best work ethics I've seen of late in our industry. A great example, like he was at 1,000 or 2,000 followers or something when he messaged me, and uh, like a year later, he was at like 400 or 500,000 because he was posting reels every day. So if you guys want to play the social media game, the YouTube game, he's a great person to follow, and he throws up a lot of really inspirational stuff as well. So definitely worth following Life Through Optics, and he shoots on APS-C. Um, gear. So he really does take away a lot of your excuses too if you guys are shooting on APS-C as well, because it doesn't really matter what camera you have, you can make great content, and he does as well. Mario Roll from Austria and would like to start photographing and filming cars. What are your beginner tips? 100% learn how to use your camera. Because if you know how to use your camera, you can shoot anything. You can shoot real estate, you can shoot portraits, you can shoot cars, you can shoot anything that will actually make you money if you understand how your camera works, the aperture, the ISO, the shutter speeds, the as I don't know, all the functions. Just learn them all. I've got a course down below that I've already talked about a little bit on this that will help you with that. But that's number one is you have to get to know how to use your camera, and then you can literally do anything. I still shoot real estate because I think it's fun and it's easy and you can make money doing it. So the more you get to know your camera, the more opportunities you guys can have outside of automotive photography, which can be one of the more difficult industries to actually break into and make half decent money with. Ducati King, can you just send me your question again and I will answer it? Otherwise, I got to scroll for a while. Just bought an A7 IV with a Tamron. Any experience with any of the two? I mainly shoot videos. I mean, you have Ducati King's asking if his Sony A7 IV with a Tamron 28-75 f2.8. I don't personally have experience with that, but that is more than sufficient for shooting literally anything. Sony has fantastic low light capabilities. I'm not sure if an A7 IV has dual native ISOs. You guys can let me know, because if you're shooting at f2.8 in low light, you might run into a few issues because you're not having like that lower aperture like a prime lens might offer you. But Sony's are really good in low light, so you should be able to crank your ISO if you need to. If it has that dual native ISO, I would hit that dual native ISO and then potentially just continue using that variable ND filter if you're shooting video. If you're shooting photos, you should be good in almost any situation with a Sony, because they're just fantastic in low light. All right, any YouTube questions? You guys are slow on the questions. The guys on Instagram are killing it. So all right, 800 and 3200 are the dual native ISOs on the A7 IV. That's great. Dusty's here. Go say hi to Dusty, guys. He's an incredible photographer. He's also now working with some large automotive brands like GMC. So if you want additional inspiration, go check out Dusty Cressy. He also has been featured on Peter McKinnon's channels because he's that talented. So go check him out. Also, that answers one of my earlier questions on favorite photographers. Dusty's fantastic, and Victor Arden is one of the most talented local Calgary photographers I've ever known. So you can definitely go follow those two because they work a bunch together. They're incredible. What Sigma lenses do I prefer for car photography? Any of them. Depends what focal length you want to shoot. I love the 35 millimeter. I love a 50 millimeter right now as well. And I'm a big prime shooter. I like getting those low apertures, but you kind of just get what you can afford. And again, get to know the settings on your camera, and you should be able to make anything look good. I like Sigma glass because it's like hefty. It like feels good in the hand and it's super sharp. So that's what Sigma is known for. All right. Someone asked dream classic car to photograph in the future. I'd say any Porsche 911, old or new. I love the look of the Porsches and the hips and the way that they flow. There's nothing better. Thanks for asking, Matt Lay. I am going to wrap this up pretty quick, guys. We've been going for about an hour. So for those of you who are just showing up, we are celebrating the 100,000 subscribers. So we opened this earlier, and this is just a huge thank you to every single one of you, because the 100,000 subscribers represent you guys. And yeah, I put in a lot of hard work. So it's a pretty cool moment to reach this milestone. So just wanted to open this with you guys and say thanks. And yes, I would love to shoot a Singer. Those vehicles are insane. That's just answering a question on Instagram. So thanks, guys. I am going to sign off here because I'm not seeing too many questions, but I appreciate you. You guys literally have made my life a dream, being able to do what I love, because you guys want to learn. You guys want to be a part of the community. And it means so much that you guys continue to watch. You continue to ask questions. You continue to dive deeper with me. Honestly, it means so much. I am hoping to continue to do this further into the future, to continue to teach you guys as I get better at what I do and as opportunities come to me. I want to continue to bring you guys along and teach you so that you guys can get better as well. That is the goal. That's why we have this channel. So hopefully we'll grow and we'll adapt, and we might change a little bit. But for the most part, I'm really enjoying what I do. So thank you guys. You're all fantastic. If you're on YouTube, Autolux Imagery just put a couple fantastic photographers in. Aaron Brimhall, I agree. Nigel Harneman, I've never heard of him, but awesome. Let's look him up. Tim Walsh, Larry Chen, of course, Patrick Johal. Go check out some of those awesome car photographers as well. You guys are fantastic. For those of you that have been here since like the beginning, I see Vinny in here. I love you guys. Honestly, it's been incredible going through this journey, all of us together. Keep asking questions, keep going out and actually using your gear. And don't ever hesitate to reach out, because I'm always here to help you guys. That's literally what this channel is about, is helping you guys get better and then sharing my journey along the way too. So lots and lots of love, huge amount of gratitude from me, from my wife, and from my daughter Bridget, because you guys are the ones that allow us to do this. So thank you. Yeah, love you guys. I think I'm gonna go because my voice is starting to hurt. And we've been on for like an hour and 10 minutes, but man, I love it. Sean, you're awesome. Sean, by the way, sold shoes with me at Little Burgundy many years ago. He was my manager, and now we shoot cars. How cool is that? How cool is that? Freaking awesome. All right, guys, I'm leaving. Thanks for joining. You're awesome. Yeah, we thanks. The community loves your hug. Yeah, that's nice. Lots of nice messages here, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you all very much. Go follow each other. Stay tuned. We might be creating a cohort of sorts that I can help you guys on one-on-one basis, or in a more community oriented way. I think Isaac's asking here, one-on-one sessions. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do one-on-ones. That'd be quite expensive, but I think we could probably figure out a way for us to build a community and for me to be able to answer these questions in like a Zoom format or something. Yeah. So thanks, guys. I am going to sign off. Appreciate all your questions. Love you. And we'll see you in the next video. I guess I posted one today, and we'll keep posting them throughout the year. So thanks, guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you later. Lots of love. Lots of love. I don't even know how to turn off a live stream on YouTube, but we'll figure it out. If you guys aren't subscribed to YouTube, go subscribe. Okay. Lots of love. See ya. Bye, YouTube fam. You're the best. I love YouTube. Bye.